Mikey, I'm a psychologist. I understand human behavior. I do. And I've discovered laws of human behavior. That is to say, if a human says one thing, they're going to say something else. It's necessary. If they're in a certain situation, I can predict what will happen. Now, I want to prove this. I've got proof, all right? I've picked up some really interesting television, which is, it's interesting in itself. You should watch it for fun and entertainment, but you should also watch it because I can explain what happens in the television. All right. Now, you probably don't know this, but in 1976, the Sex Pistols appeared on British television and said the words shit and fuck. They did. They did. It's really wild stuff, man. Really wild television. And I'm going to show it to you right now, but then I'm going to explain it. I am, Mikey.
They are punk rockers. The new craze, they tell me. They're heroes, not the nice, clean Rolling Stones. You see, they're as drunk as I am. They are clean by comparison. They're a group called the Sex Pistols. I am told that that group have received £40,000 from a record company. Doesn't that seem to be slightly opposed to their anti-materialistic view of life?
More the merrier.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Well, tell me more about it.
We fucking spent it, haven't we?
I don't know, have you?
Yeah, it's all good.
No one even heard that one because he was drunk himself and he wasn't paying attention. When he asked, well, what did you do to the money? And I said, we fucking spent it.
Well, tell me more about
We
it.
fucking spent it, haven't we?
I don't know, have you?
Yeah, it's all good.
Really?
Down the boozer.
40, really? Good Lord. Now, I want to know one thing. Beethoven, Mozart, Bach and Brahms have all died. Really? What are we saying, sir?
Wonderful people.
Are they?
Oh, yes, they really turn us on.
What do they do?
Well, suppose they turn other people on.
That's just their tough treat.
And Rotten, he slipped up and said shit under his breath.
Which one?
Nothing, a rude word. Next question.
No. What was the rude word?
Shit.
Was it really? Good heavens, you frightened me to
Oh,
death.
all right.
What about you girls behind?
He's like your dad, isn't he, this geezer?
Are you,
Or your granddad.
are you worried or are you just enjoying yourself?
Enjoying myself.
Are you?
Yeah.
That's what I thought you were doing.
I always wanted to meet you.
Did you really?
Yeah.
Susie, she was just being like coy with him. And he said, oh, maybe we'll meet after.
We'll meet afterwards, shall we?
You dirty son. You dirty old man.
Steve completely understood that he was talking to a drunk, as you would a drunk in a pub, and he just topped him.
Well, keep going, Chick, keep going. Go on, you've got another 5 seconds. Say something
You
outrageous.
dirty bastard.
I just remember this fucking cunt just started provoking us and we coated him off.
Go on, again.
You dirty fucker.
What a clever boy.
What a fucking rotter.
Well, that's it for tonight. The other rocker, Abel, and I'm saying nothing else about him, will be back tomorrow. I'll be seeing you soon. I hope I'm not seeing you again. From me, though, good night.
McLaren was there. He was terrified. He was shitting himself.
He was deaf white, you know, going, we fucking better get out of here, quick.
But the very next day, it was all his big idea, you know.
Pretty wild stuff, man. Wild! Man, imagine if you were there watching that in 1976 when that happened. You would be saying, whoa, how could that exist on television? Saying the words shit and fuck. And wearing a swastika. Whoa. Whoa. Now, I've read Johnny Lydon's biography. I've read it a couple years ago, but due to what he says in that biography, I can predict his behavior. I can. All right. And I can also predict George's behavior and Susie's, of Susie and the Banshees, okay? Now, it's more difficult and more speculative with Susie and George because I haven't read their books. But these laws I've developed are really sophisticated and they're rigorous. They are rigorous, and I've tested them, Mikey. I've tested them. Okay, all right. Johnny Lydon says the word shit. Now, he does that because he's experiencing a rebellion of the individual. All right? Now, what is rebellion of the individual? Let me consult my notes. The rebellion of the individual is when the mind experiences cognitive dissonance in an interface of disintegration and recombination. It is. That's what it is. Now, how do I know that Lydon experiences a rebellion of the individual? Because he says in his book, he says that there were rats in his sink, and he was really upset that he was poor, and he had serious problems with this. That caused a rebellion of the individual. Now, when you confront a drunk on television and you're suffering from a rebellion of the individual, you will say, shit. That's true. That is true. I know it sounds outrageous. I know that you're having trouble accepting that, but God darn it, I've proven it. I have. Now, let's move on to George. He calls Ted Grundy a dirty fucking bastard. Strong words. That's a really tough thing to say on TV. But George is experiencing an antithesis of harmony. Okay? He is. Now, what is an antithesis of harmony? Let me consult my notes. The antithesis of harmony occurs when the individual experiences self-deception due to a disconnect between appearance and reality. That's what it is. Now, how do I know George experiences that? It's because on the documentary about the Sex Pistols, I quote my references good. George says he didn't even know who the Prime Minister was at the time. Now, when you're in a punk band and you don't know who the Prime Minister is, then you experience an antithesis of harmony, and if you're suffering from an antithesis of harmony and you're talking to a drunk on television, you will call him a dirty fucking bastard. You will! You will! Alright? Okay. I think I've given you enough evidence that I understand psychology. So I'm going to skip my analysis of Susie's behavior. Alright? I've done enough. But you've learned something, Mikey. You have. You understand 2 laws of psychology now, and you can apply them in your life. Your roommate might be experiencing an antithesis of harmony. And if he is, you can predict his behavior.